That's my dog, Kika. Hello. Hey, we're doing a different video today, mainly because it is extremely windy outside, like uncharacteristically windy. I think it's getting picked up. Can you hear it? I think by the door you can. You'll just have to take my word for it. It's extremely windy, and I don't think I'm in the right setup to actually have a good recording session today. So I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do something behind the scenes. Here's my behind the scenes, by the way. Look at that. There's always a new scenery happening in the mountains. I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. This all comes at the cost of sometimes having to deal with wind, but hey, you get what you get, right? Anyway, the thing that inspired making this video right now is the fact that I actually get a lot of comments recently over the last week and some change about how great the setup looks and how almost, I guess, professional the production is looking. And I kind of just wanted to show you guys what I'm working with. It's an ever-moving goal that's happening here, and what I'm doing right now and how I'm using this setup is going to change. But the things that I think that people are noticing, or at least clinging onto, that's staying the same. So I kind of just want to show you guys what this is all about. Because this is technically, as I'm calling it, a brand new YouTube channel, this is a way to showcase what a starter YouTube channel studio at home looks like. So let's get started. So the first thing I kind of want to draw attention to is that this is my basement. My whole basement is more or less my studio, and I use this set over here for everything, which we'll go over in a second. But this is pretty much where I come down when I have a moment's time to kind of work on some stuff. And then I got my executive producer, Kika, that's over here, always on the lookout, listening, making sure the production's going well. And then this is the production. And then whenever I'm being lazy, I tend to just sit here and watch TV or play video games, whether it's Xbox or Switch. And then while I'm doing all that, I get to just take in the views outside. So that's more or less how my days look like. But let's actually talk about the setup. As you know from my MagSafe video that I love, I use this for everything, and we're going to use it right now so I can better show you some stuff. Starting with my background set, my lights here. This is something that has got a lot of people's attention, so I kind of want to talk about that. These overhead lights that you have here are never on. Well, when I'm producing, they're not on. So I got lights there. I got lights everywhere. These suckers are off, and I just use my ring light currently over there as my main A-shot light for me, and everything else is turned off. But then I'll use these lights over here, and this will be my backdrop color just to add some textures and dimensions and everything that I like about it. But the issue that I actually have with this personally, and this is a me thing, is I don't like the emptiness that's happening back here. I want something there, even though I'm positioned right there. So it kind of looks like this, and I try to keep things symmetrical. It's too plain for my liking. So I do want something that goes back here. And because I also have equipment over here, which we'll go over in just a moment, I do want it to be practical. So I have been thinking about soundproofing the back area, but not with like soundproof squares. I have foam squares that are over there, and we will go over that shortly as well. But I actually was thinking about like getting wood panels, like the vertical wood panels that also double like a soundproofing, and I kind of want a backdrop back there. And to be honest with you, I kind of don't want these two lights that are right here. I want to replace them with something else, and maybe even get like a neon sign that's happening over here. But I mean, that's a little bit long-term planning there. Bare minimum, I do like having my plants, and no, they're not real. I think I bought these at IKEA or something, and yeah, they just serve as adding some new texture to all this white and beige that's happening back here. So I like it, and it brings me peace. The stuff that's happening over here is actually stuff that I use very, very regularly. I am a musician first. That's how I proclaim to be. And even though this YouTube channel is all about things that have to do with tech and art, everything that I do behind the scenes that's not this has to do with all of that. I am always working on music, always. So I need to have my space be a little bit more convenient as a studio for when I'm actually like doing music. It's not just a backdrop and having such a big gap between here and the wall. It's not because I just want empty space. I kind of need all this space here to work with when I'm mic'd up, or I have my amp going into the guitar, and then I have that plugged into my preamp, and then the preamp is plugged into the computer. So there is a rig of things, and then I have kind of this open space to either play on the guitar or play on the piano. You hear that? You hear that? And then that. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, look at this. You could just see that tree out there losing its mind. Crazy stuff, man, crazy stuff. Anyway, I kind of designed the space so that way I can convert my space into any point where it's going to be music, turn to YouTube, or YouTube then to music. And it should happen like pretty easily, with the core of it all happening right here at this chair, and I could just kind of turn around and plug in and stuff like that. And yeah, hence why I actually have my headphones put right there, so that way they're easier to grab, and then I have control of my audio. So this is the space right here. Let's talk about this space. Sitting here, this is my angle to when you guys are watching my videos. You see everything coming in from the Sony camera that's right there, completely blown out with the backdrop. But my camera's right there, and this is what I see. I operate off of here. I always have my iPad off frame here. I use that as like my show notes that I'm using, so we'll be active. Always have water here. Hydrate, fellas, ladies, anybody, always hydrate. And then I run most of my setup through OBS, and so I'll have OBS open here, and I can just make sure it's more or less my monitor here to make sure that everything's going good and the audio and video is still working properly. As my mic is, I actually have the mic turned off, but when it's on, there's a green ring around here that lights up and it kind of glows, and it shows me my actual levels if I'm clipping or not. So I sit here, and then if I do the podcast, I got my headphones right there. So this is when I'm working and doing, YouTube or podcast stuff. But then if I'm done and I'm working on music stuff, then I just turn my chair over, grab my headphones, plug it in, and I'm over here playing this, or I'm sitting with my guitar and I am just, writing music. All pretty simple stuff, to be honest. I mean, it's, at least I want it simple for me. It has to be quick turnaround. So let's look at the camera really quickly. This is the camera I use. This is a Sony A6400. I bought it many years ago and it's still running well, but this is what I use. And then over here, this is what you guys see. I would be right here, and then boom. Now we're in the Randy Nexus show. And then I have control of my ring light that's right here. It's just as simple as turning this on, and then boom, now we got light. I got my MagSafe mount over here that I use for my B-roll or my secondary camera, or screen sharing is right there. And that's literally, I think, it. This is the setup. It's supposed to be simple by design, clean by design, even minimal a little bit by design. And then everything over here is stuff that I'm still sorting out from my move. So I'm still working on all of this. Unrelated to anything that has to do with the show. This is more for me, but also I like the backdrop. I love the iPhone 5S. It was my favorite iPhone, so I have it mounted here. This was one of my favorite albums of all time, so it's like memorabilia here. This was gifted to me, so I just like it. And then I love everything Rivian lately. Even though I own Teslas, I'm a Rivian fan. So that's just to kind of show you a bit of my personality there. This is it. This is the studio tour as a beginning YouTube channel as of today, all right? So I think the last thing I'll show you is just how it all runs. So let me show you the final setup. Like I was saying earlier, these lights aren't on. In fact, I have to really dim the area, and it's very jerry-rigged right now. So I'm gonna show you the tacky version of how I'm doing this, and other parts I was talking about earlier, I'll show you how that kind of comes into play here. So first thing I gotta do is I gotta block all that light over there, as well as all the light that's over here. And how do I do that? Well, that's where my executive producer, Kika, comes into play. Hi, baby. She knows what's about to happen. I take these cushions and these pillows and I drape them over here and put them up over there. And that's why I have my foam box for soundproofing right here. I use it to hold the cushions up. And then I kill all these lights and then we have our set. I found one of my issues of filming on iPhone that I'm just gonna have to keep in the final cut, by the way. I am very much aware while you were watching this that I was out of focus for some of those shots because I did a tap to focus and it didn't like re-autofocus afterwards. So it is what it is. Call it early YouTube trial and error, figuring out as a young channel. We'll get it right next time. All right, let me show you how I set this up. Now we enter the time-lapse portion. While the wind is still losing its mind, but here's how I do it. First part done. Voila. Then we add some background light for the backdrop. Boom. Get the ring light on. With everything set in stage, the final piece is now done. And this is how we do it. This is my setup in a very quick, minimal, less efficient, maybe in some ways, but at least high turnaround for me. This is my production as of today. I think I will do another update video eventually once I start getting the set a little bit more established and I upgrade some things, maybe some gear, and I will this is maybe just like a part one. We'll do a continuation whenever that day may come. But this is what we're working with. This is what it all looks like. Filming everything in OBS, I'm able to edit really, really quickly, turn around and have it uploaded same day, as I hope to have this one done at some point today. Hopefully you took something from this. If you haven't, then, you know, at least you got to see what my basement looks like when it's not in this final form. If you have any recommendations about something I can try or use or upgrade that's relatively inexpensive, I am all for it. I've been using all this gear, the exact same gear here for years. If it ain't broke, I'm not fixing it, but I'm always open-minded for upgrades. That's it for me. Until then, I will catch you guys later. Take care. Goodbye.